My name is Daniel Carter. I was 34 years old, worked as a senior architect at a fast growing design firm, and lived in a peaceful neighborhood just outside Chicago. My wife, Melissa, was 32, beautiful, driven, and the kind of woman who could light up an entire room with her smile. We had been married for 6 years. At least I believed we were happy. The warning signs had always been there, but I chose to ignore them. The late night texting, the constant excuses about working overtime, the way she smiled at her phone before quickly locking it whenever I walked past. One evening, I came home carrying her favorite takeout and a bouquet of flowers because I wanted to surprise her. She was sitting quietly on the couch with her arms crossed. "We need to talk," she said. Those 4 words hit me harder than anything else. Melissa looked away and let out a long sigh. "Daniel, I think I need a break from our marriage." I gave a nervous laugh. "A break? What does that even mean?" She refused to meet my eyes. "I just need some space to find myself." "Find yourself?" I couldn't stand hearing those words. "Is there someone else?" I asked. "No," she replied far too quickly. Then everything went silent. I stared at her for several long seconds. "How long?" "I don't know, maybe a few weeks." It felt as if someone had ripped a hole straight through my chest. I wanted to argue. I wanted explanations. But when I looked at her face, I saw something even more painful than anger. I saw guilt. The following morning, she packed 2 suitcases and walked away. 6 years of marriage reduced to 2 suitcases sitting by the front door. The house instantly felt cold and empty. For the first week, I barely slept. I kept checking my phone, hoping to see a message from her. Nothing ever came. Then I made a decision. I stopped waiting. I joined a gym. I started running every morning. I reconnected with old friends I hadn't spoken to in years. I even accepted an invitation from my business partner, Ethan, to attend networking events. Little by little, the pain began changing into something unexpected. Peace. 3 weeks later, I looked different. More importantly, I felt different. Then Friday evening arrived. A knock echoed through the house. When I opened the front door, I nearly dropped the coffee in my hand. Melissa was standing there, but she looked completely different. Her hair was messy, her eyes were red, swollen, and exhausted, as though she had spent days crying. Without saying another word, she suddenly wrapped her arms around me. "Daniel." I stood there frozen. "I made a mistake," she whispered. I slowly stepped back and looked at her. "What happened?" Tears streamed down her cheeks. "The person I thought truly cared about me, he lied to me." The room fell silent. My heart stopped. He, there really was a he. I stared at her in disbelief. "You told me there wasn't anyone else." She lowered her head. "I didn't want to hurt you." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. While I had been sitting alone wondering where our marriage had fallen apart, she had already been running towards someone else. "He promised we'd be together," she cried. "Then his wife found out about us, and he ended everything." I felt anger building inside me. Not because she cheated, not because she lied, but because I suddenly realized something far worse. I had never been her first choice. I was simply her backup plan. Melissa reached out and grabbed my hands. "Please, Daniel, I know I made a terrible mistake. I want us back." Us back? For a brief moment, I looked at the woman I once would have done absolutely anything for. Then I looked at the man reflected in the hallway mirror behind her. 3 weeks earlier, I would have begged her not to leave. 3 weeks earlier, I would have blamed myself for everything, but that man no longer existed. I gently removed her hands from mine. "I spent the last 3 weeks believing I had lost the love of my life," I said quietly. She cried even harder. Then I continued, "But I didn't lose anything." She stared at me without saying a word. "I finally discovered who you really are." The color drained from her face. "Daniel, please." "No." I opened the door wider, not to invite her back inside, but to let her walk away. As she stood there crying on the front porch, I quietly closed the door. realizing something for the first time in weeks. Sometimes revenge isn't about shouting. Sometimes revenge is becoming someone they can never have again.